I just already feel it in my spirit. God help us. God. Jesus, help us.
Unbelievable.
Help us to do what you need us to do, to say what the people need to hear. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. This is the first time I'm doing like this in-person recording, and
why would you do this with me?
I'm just like, this is gonna be great. It's
Why
gonna be great.
Why would you try this with me?
And a mess. I mean, I'm doing it again on Sunday, so I'll be fine.
Now back to you, Bob.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. What's the name of this thing?
What do you want me to do? I don't know. I don't know. The Love Hour. Dr. Love.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. I need water.
I didn't get water. I'm unworthy of a beverage.
Hey believers, welcome back to High and Humbly Presents, where we have real conversations with real Christians in real life. I'm your host, Enigma the Author, and welcome to the podcast. Today I have a very, very, very special guest. A very special guest. One of my best friends in the whole entire world, Becky Lou.
Woo! Crowd applause.
Crowd applause. Crowd applause. Crowd applause. Yes, and we're going to be having a conversation about just what it means to be a Christian in 2020. So, hey, Becky Lou.
Hey, girl.
How you feeling?
I'm in the state.
Okay. No, really. How are you? How have you been during the pandemic, during everything? How is 2020 feeling?
We don't have enough time. Okay? I just be like, I'm alive, okay? That's the bet.
Is all you got?
2020 has been doing a number on me, honey. So I'm alive, and sometimes that has to be enough. And I just let that be enough sometimes.
So let's start from the beginning. Who is Becky Lou? I know who Becky Lou is.
They also don't have time for that either.
But let's give them
smaller questions.
give the listeners, aka viewers, the Cliff Notes version. Who's Becky Lou?
Get me up, because obviously I'm lost. I don't know who I am.
Becky Lou is also a writer.
If she knows, then she better not.
Becky Lou is a writer, and she's actually the first person who I would thought, I was growing up, and we have all the people that we know they do things.
Right.
The first philanthropist I know. Did I say that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have a hard time with words sometimes. Becky Lou was a philanthropist,
right.
A professional philanthropist.
I love it. It's my favorite thing.
It's a favorite thing to do. And I don't know why she didn't think, I do that.
Yeah, right. Like I said, you asking me, I'm like, I don't know. Person. That's the best I got. Black, African American, Jamaican. These are the things I'm thinking about when you say, who are you? I don't know. But yes, I do love a good give back. That's my thing.
And why? When did that start, and why is that something you do?
Well, it started, it's just very, I don't know, love to read.
Mm-hmm.
We share that. So when I was younger, I would read the newspaper a lot, because it was the thing that I can count on my parents buying for me to read. My dad would buy 3 newspapers a day. Mm-hmm. So I would just read the newspapers, and the stories be horrible. It would be so depressing, it's so bad. I don't watch the news as an adult. Mm-hmm. I'm I got my fill as a kid. Nothing has changed. It's still bad. I can't indulge in that because it just depressed me. But it would just be a lot of sad stuff happening, and I'm I need to figure out a way to make something happy happen. So, between that and, what's the lady name? See, now I I feel bad because she's like my idol. Clara Hell, she was the first. Like, because I'm like, what's this lady name? My personal hero and mentor. She does not know me because she died before, like, I think a couple of years after I was born or whatever. But she ran and owned her own orphanage for, like, babies that were born, like, basically crack babies, if you would.
Mm-hmm.
You know, addicted to drugs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, between the newspaper and her, and I'm like, she's making something positive happen. She's making something happy happen. So I'm like, that I need to be that person because the news is just gonna depress you all the time. So if I'm making something happy happen, I can be happy that I'm helping, you know, that.
And so let's like not come back to, but let's circle back to like the whole point of this podcast, and which is like we know each other because we grew up in church together.
Mm-hmm.
We met like
the 90s.
In the 90s. Oh Jesus!
I'm a baby, so
whatever. We met and we grew up in church together, and so we know each other for the majority of our lives, and we've been best friends for a significant portion of that at this point. And
all about adult years,
yeah,
for sure.
And so, how does like that those core beliefs kind of play into why you feel like you know you got a good give back, why you were even attracted to the story of Clara Hell, why like, or do you think it even had an impact on you at all, like when you're thinking about like, you know, these are your core values as a person,
right? So
like do you feel like your faith played any part in that?
No, like I want to say no because like this was me being young. I wasn't even thinking about like being a Christian and I go to church because my parents go to church. That's basically how I was as a kid. But it didn't play a part in it. But being a Christian, I feel like it's more important that I do that. Like that's how that, you know, I'm like, do unto others as you have them do unto you. That's why, like, you know, that's how my Christianity ties into it because it's like, if I'm not giving back, if I'm not helping others, I'm not following Christ. So it started off with, I need to make something happy happen. But it's like, no, if I'm saying I'm a Christian, I'm supposed to make something happy happen. Like, this is a charge for me. So that's how it ties in.
And so let's dig a little bit deeper there. So, like, again, we grew up in church together. But, like, when did your faith become important to you? When, like, at what point were you like, oh, like, I don't just go to church. I believe in God. Like, do you have, like, a moment where... or like an instance where you like made that connection, or did you kind of just grow into it as you become an adult?
I think more so as an adult because it took me a while for me to start trying to do it for myself and not being this thing that my parents dragged me to, and it's just like, I have to go here, I have to be here, I have to blah blah. And it's like, if you're going to stay here, you might want to figure out why you're here and if it's important enough for you to be here. Like, do you like being here? Like, do you like being a Christian? Like, is this really important to you? Like, so like as I became an adult, it was like I can't keep saying my parents are making me. So it's just that mindset change, right? It's that mindset change of I'm an adult. I'm choosing to serve God. Like, my parents aren't making me worship God. Like, I'm doing it for myself. I see that it's helpful. I see that it's useful. It hasn't let me down so far. I was doing it just blindly following, but like now I have to make that choice because my parents aren't going to drag me no more. So it's like when you don't have that, your parents making you do something and you have to actively do it for yourself, that's like, you know, becoming an adult. So like gearing into adulthood, I was like, no, I'm a Christian. I like being here. Me and God go way back, so
me and God go way back.
I'm gonna settle into this and learn more about it. You know, delve into it for myself, and not just, you know.
But why stay a Christian though? Like, again, we are educated women, right? We read everything, right. And honestly, I remember for a while there we read like the Percy Jackson books. Right. Like we like to read history. We like to read about just like how the world works in general. So it's like it wasn't like you didn't have an opportunity
to be something
else, or to explore other things. So why stay a Christian?
One, you know me, I don't like change. That's real easy. That's real simple. I dislike change. So it's like really exploring. Well, you know, because I didn't really have to explore at that point because I had been doing the reading and the research just for fun before, you know, deciding to be a Christian or deciding that I'm gonna follow Christ for myself. But it was just, even when I was reading and doing that research, it didn't really appeal to me. And like, you know, I want to be Muslim, even though I've read all these stories and blah, blah, blah. No discredit to to Islam and how they want to, you know, operate. But I just knew it wasn't for me. Like, I'm not gonna downplay anything that they do, but it's just certain aspects of it. I was like, I don't want to have to do that to reach my savior. You know, I don't want to have to, you know, jump through these certain hoops, if you will, to be able to reach him. And I know I can sit just like this and reach him. I can do that. I have that freedom. And it's like, it's not that hard of a decision once you've been doing something. I'm already prayed to him. I can already reach him when I need him. I don't have to do all these other things for him to say that's my child. Like, no, I'm his child, period. And he accepts that, I accept that. I just have to, you know, walk in it. So it just made it, having all that knowledge about other religions before, it just made it easier for me to be like, no, this is where I need to be, this is where I should be.
I think I like the way you talk about it too, though. It's like, I love that emphasis on like personal relationship, because again, I agree, like, again, we read all these things and I'm like, okay, this sounds really fun to watch from over here.
Right.
But when it comes to my own personal salvation, I love the fact that I can sit here in my seat and be like, Father God, in the name of Jesus, for you right now, and know that I'm getting to the throne. You know what I mean? And I think that, like, even like what's become popular, like the sage and the crystals and the praying to the ancestors.
Right.
And I'm just like, I think it makes for good stories.
Yeah. Like, of course.
I think it looks like, I always thought it was interesting. Like, you know, that's the plot line to most horror movies. Like, people are like, oh, we're just gonna innocently open this chest of magical things.
Yeah, just welcoming demons and spirits.
I'm like, and it's fun to watch, but like, in my actual personal life, I don't.
Yeah, no.
And I don't think that people kind of make that connection. That they kind of like go off the deep end, but don't realize that they're going off the deep end until they're looking around like, why is my life this way?
Yeah. You've opened this into your life, you've welcomed this into your life, not realizing that you have. But it's just like, yeah. You could bring your sage, like, if that's your thing, but I know I can just pray. If I want spirits going, I can just pray. I don't got to do any extra special things. I can just talk to him, and that's important, to just be able to have that connection.
It's like, again, like, if we had to go through a third party for our relationship, I'm like, you know what? I need to talk to Becky Lou. Let me let me dial this intercom and ask her. Like,
It'll patch me
in. Like a switchboard.
Yeah, like a switchboard. Like, you can't call me. It's like, yeah, can you pass me over to Sam? Yeah, please and thank you. It's like, no, you can call me directly.
Are you wearing blue today? Because she's only going to talk to you if you're wearing blue today.
Like, are you facing this particular, geographic location? I don't know. I need him now, okay? I don't need to be getting a compass. I need to find him now.
I don't need to be in a compass.
Now. Like, I need him now.
Like, it is very true though. Like, we can laugh, we can joke about it, but there's been instances where like the only prayer I can pray is Jesus, or Jesus help me. Yeah. Like, if I had to like go through the ritual of like, where's my sage, where's my incense, where's my
mind by the time I can find everything I need to have. Other than me just saying, help me.
Help me.
Like, help me. Help me. Like, if I had to do more than that sometimes in those moments, you'd be lost already. You'd be lost because you're like, forget it. By the time I've been done dead, lost my mind, went crazy, whatever. So,
but I think it's like super important. And the reason, again, I ask these questions, I always tell people this is like my favorite part of the interview, because I think it's important for people to have that connection for themselves. And it's like, it's not gonna, and like, for the viewers, for the listeners, you see that every story isn't the same. It was like, especially because I've been talking to a lot of people who I grew up with, and it's like, even though we grew up together, even though we all believe in the same God, our journeys to our God has been different, and the significance and the place that we put God in our lives is always different, or how he reached that like top tier. And so this is my favorite part, because I want the listeners and viewers to hear, like, nah, like, we out here doing the thing because we actually love God. Yeah, this is not, nobody's holding a gun to our heads. Nobody's it's not forceful or anything like that, and like that's important. And so, like, moving again, I'm talking about the pandemic and how like 2020 has been like rough. It's been rough.
It's dragging me by my head, child.
And so, even like, preparing for the interview, I was like asking you, like, like, what do you do? Like, what do you want to talk about? And so, I want to circle back to like the philanthropy and stuff like that. So, like, again, like, this is your faith, this is what you want to do. And I know that you're like transitioning between careers and things of that nature. So, like I'm like I said, you're the first philanthropist I've ever known. So I just want you to emphasize on that part and just tell us like things that like this is who you are, and because you're a Christian, like it's emphasized by this work that you're so passionate about. And I know that like you're in the process of all these things, but like what are the things that you're doing that like make you excited to want to continue in the work? Like what are the ideas that you already have?
So I'm trying to, you know, get back into being like a functioning member of society, you know, who've been locked at home and everything or whatever. So I was upset a little bit that I didn't get to do the breast cancer walk because, you know, oh, Samantha got her pink hair, go on. Okay. So, okay. Anyway, I didn't realize, like, oh, shoot, she got the pink hair. But yeah, we're not able to do that this year. I mean, I could have raised and but it's just, you know, I'm just trying to take it slow. But I am still doing my hat drive this year. I decided like I'm not.
Yes.
You know.
Is it just hats or gonna be hats and socks?
I'm just gonna do hats because, you know, I do them like back to school. I usually do my socks, and then Christmas I do the hats. But usually I do an event, but I can't do an event because of COVID. So I'm like trying to, you know, I got a couple emails out for homeless shelters, like who will take the, you know, the hats from me, but I'm gonna do that for sure. Yeah, so I had planned on launching my nonprofit this year, but then obviously COVID. Because remember, I wanted to plan a trip, but I was like, no, I'm gonna use the trip money to start my but that ended up being my savings for COVID to live. So that went haywire, but I still want to launch Nice to Be Nice eventually. Hopefully by 2021 sometime, because I don't have all day.
And like I know what Nice to Be Nice is, but can you re-emphasize like, what is Nice to Be Nice for our podcasts and YouTubers?
I don't know, like that's what I'm like working out to find things, but it is basically just giving back, even if it's food drives, if it's whatever kind of drive, whoever I can give back to, whoever I can reach, really. Like, I'm gonna fine tune it to like something really small, but like right now it's just, you know, like I do the sock drive, I do the hat drive, I do the food pantries, like whatever I can get my hands into. Right now, like those things are just easier for me right now, so I do them because I don't want to not be doing anything because that's just not my style. But it will be that, like, you know, just whoever needs. If there's, you know, a family that's crazy in need and they need a couple dollars, Nice to Be Nice wants to have it, to be like, here, don't worry about it, it's done. So that's basically what I want to, you know, end up doing.
I just want to emphasize to everybody who's listening and watching, like, she does this already.
Yes, I do this already. Like, I've been doing it for actually like maybe 3-4 years. Like, yeah, hundreds of hats, thousands of socks. At this point, thousands of socks. Yeah. Hundreds of hats. Because, like, remember, it just started off with the socks. And then I was just like, oh, what can I do for winter? Oh, it's cold, obviously. I don't wear hats. But other people, you know, like, and there's a need for that because it's something we don't think about. Because I don't wear hats at all. If you want a hat, you can go get a hat. But some people can't. I'm like, it's something small that I can do. Something that I can contribute that other people just know.
So, I actually want to talk a little bit about your first sock drive. Okay. So, like, just to get more like a profile of who you are, how did you even think, like, again, it's been, 3 or 4 years, right, at this point?
Yeah. And
so, like, again, I have known that this is something you've always wanted to do, but what was the catalyst? What was the shift? Like, what ended up happening where you're like, oh, look, I did a thing, and it was great.
Right. Okay, so Diane, you know Diane. So she does an after school, you know, job, like where she gets book bags, pencils, pens, this and that, all of that. You know, we do a big event and we bust in kids from everywhere and it's just a good old time and it's fantastic. I'm like, that's great. And I was helping at these events, but I was contributing my time, which is completely fine. If that's all you can do, I say do it. But for me, it was just like, because I know this is a passion of mine, I was like, I want to do more. I want to go a step further. So I had been doing research before that about, you know, what do the homeless say is something they need.
I love that.
Yeah. Like, we'll give them whatever we say we want to give them, but what are they saying? What are they saying they need? Like, we'll say I have this leftover whatever and give it to them. It's like, of course they could be grateful, but is it what they needed? And they say a lot of times, you know, clean socks, new socks is important because your feet are super important. And you know, you see the homeless people, you see their feet, they're like disease and everything, and that's what they're saying, like cold, disease, virus, bacteria, everything can get in through the feet. And I'm like, I never thought of that. So when Diane was doing her next event, she's like, do you want to, like, I think she just asked me, because I had been thinking about it, but I think she just asked me, and took it from outside of my head to outside of my body. She's like, do you want to contribute something? Like, what do you want to do? And I was like,
power.
Right. I was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do a sock drive. Oh, then I said it out loud. I was like, oh, wait, that means I have to do a sock drive. And I'm like, how many socks? And she's like, 400 to 500. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, but I don't know no people. I'm like, I probably get my best friends and my siblings to help me, but what do you mean there's like this super large number? So it's like, it was frightening. Again, do not like change, do not like talking to people. And now she's like, yeah, 400 to 500 pairs of socks. I think that'll be good. And I'm like, you sound like a crazy person. But now that I've said it out loud, I have to deliver because that's just who I am. If I tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to show up. Scared or not, whatever. I'm going to do it. So I just reached into everything that I had in me, and I'm like, okay, I'm sure my first flyer for that was terrible.
Man.
I'm sure it's...
I wish you could pull it out.
I probably could find it. You could probably insert it somehow. I'm sure I could find it, but I'm just like, I was just trying anything. But you know, you reach out to your friends on Instagram, and it's just like, oh, you need $5? Oh, this and that.
Isn't that crazy though? Like, it's like you don't think until somebody's asking you. Like, it doesn't cost a lot.
Yeah.
To buy, like $5 can buy you like 5 pairs of socks.
Yeah.
Depending on where you're getting it from.
Yeah. And then I would post it on Instagram, like the Cash App information for it and everything. And like my Cash App would go off, and it would be people I didn't even know. Like that was, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like I don't even know this person. And they just saw it, and off the strength of them seeing it, whatever, boom, here's a couple dollars, here's whatever, you know. And it's really just grown from there that people basically expected of me. So even I feel like at this point, if I didn't do it, somebody would be knocking on my door like, "Damn, what are you doing?
Where's the hats?
Where's the hats, Becky? Where's the hats?" Like, you know, this is who you are. Like, so don't stop being who you are. Like, do what you have to do. But initially, it was terrifying. Like, for sure. And each year has like gotten easier and easier, of course. So much so that I'm like, no, I have to start my own organization because I can get that. Like, people will reach back out to me. Like, you know, I have a voice and I can help. So
and that's I think that's the important thing too. It was like one of the things I've been talking about a lot on, and I'm doing a series on the blog, the Christ-like series. And it's like when you are like Christ, it just, you can't help it. Like, it's like Jesus. That's what one of the stories I was reading recently. Jesus feeding the 5,000, right? And so when you read the story, like, oh my God, he like made all this fish or made all this bread out of nothing, and he did it a couple times in the story. But if you go and you read the story for yourself, the thing that stood out to me when I read it was that it wasn't like he was like, all right, now it's my time to flex to flex my Jesus muscles. It was that he had realized that he had been on the mount for a few days. He's like, they're hungry, they haven't eaten. Okay.
What, think of his goodness?
but that's really what I like when you're talking and you're saying, you're telling the tale of how you've been able to like and why you started. That's what it reminds me of. It's like, it reminds me of Jesus in that moment on the mountain. He's like, he's Jesus. He had already been at this point on his like 40-day fast, 40 days and 40 nights. He's Jesus. He don't need to eat. He is God. He's good. But it had been a couple of days on the mountain. He was like, no, the people have been following me, and I know they haven't eaten. So how can I help them in these moments? I guess they're following me because I'm giving them the the bread of life. I'm giving them the spiritual understanding. But like physically, they haven't eaten in a couple of days.
Right.
I need to figure that out.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I hear when you're telling me this story. And you were like, there's a need here. Right. How can I do that? And again, like innately, like because it's who you are, it's already in you. Of course, it was gonna come out.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
I'm surprised I made it through it without crying, because I started from nowhere. But I didn't do that. So
you didn't do that.
No,
You didn't do
I'm
that.
proud of myself.
Good job. But it's so important. I like how you were saying is this who you are, right? And so at this point, people are just expecting you to be you. And I think that a lot of the time, people don't realize that, like, God hasn't called any of us, not any of us, I take that back. God hasn't called all of us to, like, be on a street corner with a soapbox. Like, this is how we follow Christ. This is this is what real Christianity looks like. It means that you, through your personal relationship with God, are just more inspired to continue to do the work that you always wanted to do anyway. Yeah. And so, and that's important for us to see and for us to participate in.
Absolutely.
Because it helps us, like, again, like, I think that especially with this current climate, like this hustle, grind, like, kind of culture, it's like, no, you are important the way God made you.
Yeah.
He's not asking you to be nobody else,
Mm-mm.
but who he made you.
Right.
And so, like you said, you had to pull everything out of you that he had already given you.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, so this is a task at hand. God already gave me what I needed. Let's go.
Yeah.
It was scary.
It's very scary. Terrifying. Like, I have to ask people for monies and things. Asking. Like, I'm sorry, what you said? I have to, no. Like, if I could have, I would have just been like, yeah, Sam, I have to get 400 pairs of socks, and I need you to give me 100.
And I would have been like, here.
Right, here's 100 pairs of socks. And I'm like, looking at my siblings, all right, between the 10 of y'all, I need socks. And, like, between, like, me, more, like, I would have, but it's unrealistic, and I can't, like, if I'm going to be bigger, I have to be bigger. I can't stay in my circle. I have to,
And you have to impact more people.
Yeah.
Right? And God has more people for you to impact. And I love, again, like I said, I'm going to be bragging about you forever. Like, this is Becky Lou, owner and founder of Nice to Be Nice. And she's my friend, and she's a philanthropist. And I bet you my philanthropist is better than yours.
My philanthropist is better than yours.
My philanthropist is better than yours. And, that's just that on that.
Right. And that's the tea.
And that's the tea. Okay? I also wanted to talk about, again, like, real life. And so part of that is what people perceive us as, right? And so obviously we're Christians. And so what is, like, the biggest misconception you feel like, not the biggest, but, like, what is a misconception that is your personal pet peeve? When you start telling people about God, or because, like, when it happens, it comes up in conversation, and people will say something, you're like, I don't do that, and they're like, why? It's like, well, because I believe in Jesus. And you're like, why? And you're like, why don't you?
When you put it that way, now I'm like really thinking.
Well, yeah, just something like even like your day to day where you're just like, that's annoying that people do that, but if I could change this misconception about Christianity.
Mainly that, like, a lot of people just watch TV on how Christians are, and then they try to apply that to, like, real people. And it's just so frustrating. It's like, I'm sorry that the 5 Christians they show you on TV.
Lord, have mercy.
No, that can't be how you see all of the Christians. Because if you don't want us watching TV and taking that small percentage that they show of us, of any kind of person, you shouldn't do that to Christianity. I'm a black woman. I don't want anyone watching TV of the 10 black women they give us on TV and saying that's how Danielle is. I certainly don't want them doing that about my religion, my relationship with God. Like, no. I'm very firmly a Christian. I do make mistakes, of course. But it's a process. It's a relationship. It's like, a lot of people love to say, oh, all Christians are hypocrites. No.
We're human.
We're human.
Mm-hmm.
We make mistakes. Even the crazy ones you see on TV that say they're Christians, which is debatable. But
debatable.
It's debatable. But even them, if they are saying they're Christians, that's how they really feel. They are, like, they're not without fault. They're like, so you can't just say, oh, they said this and then they did another thing, so they're a hypocrite. First of all, that has no bearings on God.
Ooh.
So stop putting how I behave.
Say it again for the people in the back.
What did I say?
That has no bearing on God.
No bearings on God. Like, my behavior has nothing to do with God. He gave me free will, and sometimes I act a fool, and sometimes I act like his child. But in any of that, he's still God. He did not change because I'm a fool today. He didn't change. So to discount God and Christianity because I'm a fool is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And that makes no sense to me. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't, like, if you want to be a doctor or whatever, you didn't say because this doctor murdered people that you're not gonna, no, you still go. There's Some doctors kill people on purpose and by accident. But you don't say, I'm not going to go to medical school. No, you say, I'm going to go and I'm going to try to be the best doctor I can. So why would I discount God because there's some good ones and some bad ones? I'm not going to do that. And that's what I just like, oh, Christians are hypocrites because they'll say one thing and do another. Yes, because I'm telling you what the Bible says. Whether or not I'm strong enough yet in my walk to be able to follow, it's like, no. Follow me as I follow Christ. So if I'm following Christ and I dip off, you keep following him. I'm going to catch up with y'all. I'm bugging today. Like, that's it. Like, that's it. That's it.
I love it. I actually absolutely love it. I don't know if you saw my face when you started talking about it. I was just like, yes, yes. Because I agree 110%. I was like, this is honestly one of the reasons why I even started like the content portion of the Highly and Humbly brand. I was like, I've been blogging for a few years, but I was like, okay, there's all this content out there that first of all doesn't look like me. I think that's a big thing. When people ask me my target demographic is, that was weird. My target demographic is, I said the young urban Christian, because I feel like a lot of the things that we see about faith in media is like Midwestern. Like, right. It's like, I'm like, and it's cute, and like, oh my god, this is adorable, right. But it's like, I live in the city. I live in New York City specifically, New York City. And it's just like, that's cute, but that's not how stuff go down here. And then I'm a black woman in America, and I'm a black woman in New York City specifically. My Christian experience is, I won't say it's specific, but it's very different. It's different.
It's unique.
It's unique. And so I felt like I didn't really see that portrayed in the media, which is why I started like the YouTube channel and like this podcast. I was like, I need people to see, and I'm not a preacher. I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm not a preacher. So then you have like the Michael Todd's and like the Sarah Jakes Roberts, and you have these like big names in gospel who they're preachers though. I'm not a preacher. Yeah. I just want a normal person who loves Jesus. And right. I wanted to help other people to see, like,
I just want to share.
We just want to share, you know, we just want to show you that, like, we have a great time.
Yeah, of course.
We have a great time. But we love Jesus a lot. Right. And I think you really hit it on the nail on the head. Like, a lot of these shows, they don't just show the hypocrisy. They focus really on the hypocrisy of it. Or people who are intentionally, manipulative in terms of the text, in terms of the scripture, in terms of the faith. And I think that's what's frustrating is like if you have an opportunity to know God for yourself, like that doesn't even cross your mind. It does not. People really on the TV shows they plot to hurt people using faith, and I just why
right. And as a viewer, if I wasn't a Christian, I could watch that and say, "Wow, that's terrible."
That's terrible.
But it's not the real.
It is, and it's not the real. It is not. I read a lot of people just associate Christianity with cults. They put Christianity with like all the cults in the world. That's what Christianity is. And I'm just like, huh? Like I could I'm an intelligent human being, so I could look at it and be like, I can see how maybe you came to these conclusions.
Intellectually, I can see.
But it's also just like intellectually also, can we have some objectivity here?
Right.
Right? And so I again, you hit the nail on that. It's like if you look at that and then you look at me because I say I'm a Christian, like, oh, that's what you got to be. Please don't do that.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I don't want that.
Hey, so honestly, again, I appreciate you. I love you. I think you're amazing, and I want people to follow you at Becky Offbeat. Okay, I don't know. In my head, I just saw your blog site in my head, and it's Offbeat Becky, and that
it wasn't. It was Becky Offbeat.
It was Becky Offbeat. I don't know why I had off in my head first.
Because I tested it with you. I said, which one do you like?
Oh, that means we just know each other. Really
and that was 1,000 years ago.
Just pulled it back in the archives.
It had to be 6 years ago.
So I want you guys to go on Instagram and follow at Becky Offbeat so you can be in the know about everything she's doing. I'm always I always be posting talk drives and stuff like that on my page. I include it in the newsletters because I want to try to do my part to help my philanthropists.
But my philanthropist! I'm weak. My personal.
My personal. Okay. And so I know that again, the hat drive is happening this year. So make sure that you're following her to make sure you are involved in that. And again, if there's anything she does, Becky Offbeat is the place to be.
Yes.
to know when it's going down. And so that is it today. For today, guys, I just want you to remember to be great and to stay humble. And we will see you next time. Hey believers, my name is Enigma the Author, and I'm the owner and founder of Highly and Humbly NYC, where we connect the Christ you love to the life you live through curated Christian content, apparel, community, and so much more. Right now, on average, 147 people visit the Highly and Humbly website every month, and they are looking specifically for faith-based content and community. We would love to add your business or product to our platform to connect you to new customers and our community to your brand. If you're interested, please email me at enigma@highlyandhumblynyc with the subject line product placement. We would love to see you grow as we expand. Don't forget to be great and to stay humble.